So in this video, we're going to be covering what the best FIFA 23 Pro Clubs build is to use for a centre defensive midfielder or a centre midfielder if you are on max skill points. If you do like these FIFA videos, remember to leave a like so I know to make more of them, and also subscribe to the channel as well to help us reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers. Click the link in the description and subscribe to our second channel too. Over there, we post Call of Duty content. Alright, so moving over to the profile, we started with the position of centre defensive midfielder, of course. We selected a height of 6'2" because we are making a lengthy defender this time. So it's the exact same thing as my last video with the striker. We're just making it for a defender this time. And the same attributes apply. If you're stronger on the ball and you're more heavier set, you can hold on to the ball for longer, but you can also reclaim the ball back as well. So that is what we're going for here. That is the plan with this build. We've also selected a weight of 189 pounds, and again, that's also just to make us heavier. So it's the exact same thing that applies here. And then finally, I've selected right foot. It doesn't really matter in this case because we are a centre defensive midfielder, so this is not really that important. So now we want to move over to the perks, of course, and by this point you should have 3 perks available to you since you're on max build, or if you're like level 90 plus, this probably build will still work. So for the first perk, I've selected Interceptor. Now this is one of the first ones you do unlock anyway, but it is quite an overpowered perk, and it's fantastic if you're using it defensively. It's really good to be able to move people off the ball. In fact, doing that in this game is quite easy anyway, because for some reason defensive attributes are a lot better in this game than they were before. So I mean, it's not a bad thing in this case, but selecting the Interceptor is definitely going to help there. So the next perk that I've selected is Tireless Runner. Now this one is going to be quite consistent across all of the lengthy builds. It's really just because you're much more heavier set and you're going to need that stamina to help you last throughout the full entire game. Sometimes if games even reach extra time as well, I know a lot of drop-in matches now, if you're drawing, you end up in extra time as well, then you're going to need that second wind to be able to carry yourself throughout the game as well. And so now we have the final perk. Now this one's actually quite interesting because you don't actually have to choose the one that I've selected. I've selected Threaded Pass, and this is my favourite, but there is an alternative one to use. It really just depends whether you're more defensive minded or attacking minded. So in my case, I've selected Threaded Pass to kind of help with kind of passing over through to a striker, you know, maybe passing through the middle and being able to kind of get more accurate passes that way. And you can do that, or you can select Physical Strength. If you do this, it will make your character, you know, a lot stronger on the ball. It's going to make him really difficult to kind of muscle him off the ball, and you'll kind of be more or less kind of relying on short passing, not really kind of those long passes or long ground passes, kind of focusing more on possession of the ball. And that is also a really good option if you don't want to select Threaded Pass. So moving over from perks now over to attributes. Now there is 4 sections we're going to pay special attention to, and that's physical, defending, passing, and pace. Okay, so starting off with physical, we're obviously going to apply strength here as much as possible. This applies to the lengthy build as well. Again, we need 15 more strength than agility, and so I've not really selected agility at all here. We don't really need that much, but with strength, we are going to put as much on as possible. So on the skill tree, you want to apply strength, reactions, strength again, and then the bull archetype. If you're level 90, this is probably all you will need. You don't want to waste skill points on nothing. Obviously, I've selected 2 on aggression. That's because I have the spare ones to use. But if you don't have those, you want to save those skill points for other attributes as well. And now on the other side of the physical skill tree, we want to apply stamina, reactions, stamina again, and then the acrobat archetype. Now, the reason we have selected all of these is the same reason we selected Tireless Runner, is just to make sure that we last the full length of the game. This massively increases your stamina. You can see it here, we've got 96 stamina. Now we want to move over through to the Defendant tab. Now, the only things I've not selected here is slide tackling, because for obvious reasons, slide tackling is not really going to help us in the game, so there's no reason to put this on, but we've selected everything else, so we spent a lot more skill points in here, because of course for this, defensively it's very important. So we selected interceptions and defensive awareness all the way down. We have selected standing tackle, and that's very important, all the way down. And then we selected the Guardian archetype. Now this is the only defensive archetype in this game, so that is the reason we've selected it. It helps with interceptions, it helps with overall defensive awareness, and it also helps with standing tackling, which we need. So now we want to head over to dribbling. Now there's not really that much to put on here. I have put something on there just because you do want some dribbling ability in this game. Again, dribbling's a massive weakness in FIFA 23, so even defenders and like midfielders will need a little bit of dribbling, especially if you have the spare skill points. It never hurts to add these to dribbling, so I've put in, you know, 3-4 on dribbling here, and I've also put a couple on balance on the other side and ball control as well, and that's just going to help us be a more kind of stable overall good player. So now we want to move over to passing. Now I've actually applied quite a lot to passing here, and I'll explain why as well. So on the left I have crossing, I have vision, and then I have the artist archetype. Again, this is a really good archetype overall for just passing, like kind of long distance passing, putting in crosses and things. If you are a midfielder, you still have those opportunities to do that, and so if you have the spare skill points, definitely apply it. If you don't, you could probably leave this out, but I do think it will be beneficial, especially if you have the full 185 skill points to spend. And then on the right hand side is the more kind of important stuff. So here I've selected short passing all the way down, of course, long passing all the way down, of course, as well. And then I've selected vision because it's the only thing that lets you select the architect archetype. So the architect archetype is very important because it basically improves your long passing and short passing to the max level it can be. And so any sort of kind of short passes, through balls, lob through balls, all of them will be perfectly accurate once you've upgraded all these to the full amount. So now we want to head over to shooting. Now this is another one where you can essentially kind of ignore these if you don't have a max build and you don't have the full points to add on, but I have decided to put a little bit on long shots and on just general finishing, just in case you end up in a goal scoring opportunity. You want the ability to be able to take it, but of course we're on about 70 for finishing and about 70 for the long shots as well, so not completely terrible. You will be able to take shots with this build, but ideally you're going to be focusing more on midfield because that is where you're going to spend most of your time. And finally we're going to move over through to pace. Now this is obvious what is going on here. Obviously we just selected everything, and that is kind of with the sort of max builds, that is really what you're going to aim for all of them. Just having max pace is always going to be helpful in every FIFA game. It's actually less important now than in the previous one, but I do believe it's still beneficial enough for you to add a lot of your skill points on there. Generally being faster in this game than everyone else is going to be an advantage always. And there you have it. That is the best centre defensive midfielder or centre midfielder to be using in FIFA 23 Pro Clubs. This build is overpowered, so I do urge you to give it a try. Also, if you want to see more other FIFA Pro Clubs build videos, especially on the max level, let me know which one you want to see in the comments next, and I'll get over to doing that as soon as possible. If you enjoy these videos, again, remember to leave a like and also subscribe to the channel. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching.